Tonight, detectives with a major break in a more than 30-year-old case, saying they finally identified a woman whose remains were first found scattered in Bone Lake up in Scandia, and then 40 miles away in Pig's Eye Lake in St. Paul near the river. Jennifer Hall from the newsroom with more about the victim. Jennifer.
Well, detectives, Kevin, now know that a head and a foot found back in 1993 are that of Denise Hartley, a 27-year-old mother detectives say came here to start a better life, then cut short less than a year later.
A gruesome case dating back 33 years. Carol Levin covered then when a forensic artist sketched a murder victim.
Well, I think it's going to be pretty close.
An unidentified woman whose head fishermen first found along the shores of Scandia's Bone Lake. Her foot then discovered the next day in Pig's Eye Lake in St. Paul near the river.
We sincerely hope they're from the same person.
Only now can Washington County detectives finally put that face to a name.
It's relief that we can do that, but on the other side, now our job actually starts.
Clayton Evans says Denise Hartley was just 27 years old, a mother from Ohio, here to live with some of her sisters.
They were going to help her get clean and get a fresh start college.
Except Evans says less than a year later, Hartley was killed. They don't know how or who did it, relying on new technology, testing DNA from her tooth in 2024 to make a genetic connection to her daughter, still back home.
It's absolutely reassuring that, even after 30 years, we can make these leaps and bounds. What's 10 more years, what's 20 more years of technology down the road for maybe other cold cases or other cases that we have.
Closing part of a cold case, authorities hopeful the whole time.
If we can find out what her identity is, then the police will have very much more to go on finding out what happened to her.
Ready to now figure out the rest.
It's now our actual investigation begins to trying to figure out who did this.
Detectives partnered with the nonprofit called DNA Doe Project that raised enough money to start this whole genetic genealogy investigation. It's very expensive to do that. The detective there giving a lot of praise to that organization for ultimately leading them to Ohio, where they got the DNA from Hartley's family to make this confirmation. Kevin.
And you heard that soundbite. If they find out who this person is, they'll be one step closer. So they've made contact with the family. Investigators now know who that person is. Are they one step closer? What's the next steps, and any more evidence in this case now?
There's not a lot of evidence left to go on. In fact, the detective said, I had asked whether there would ever be any more perhaps remains found, and that's very hard to determine, of course, but he said given how many years have now passed, if there is this trend of finding body parts in bodies of water, he said that would just be very hard to recover at this point. So hopefully now they can kind of turn to the people that she knew and was working with or hanging out with in that time of her life.
One step closer, still a major break. Thank you.